Alright, I have two lists of words right here. I'm going to read through them and I want you thinking about what is the difference between each list of words. Mutter, Tante, Schwester, Cousine, Oma, Großmutter, Tochter. And the other list. Vater, Bruder, Onkel, Cousin, Opa, Großvater, Sohn. Give you a minute. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, on the left side, those are all females. On the right side, those are all males, right? Father, brother, uncle, cousin, those are all males. On the other side, mother, aunt, sister, cousin, those are all females. Okay, simple enough. So let's take a look at this list, and it's slightly different. You can see I've added something. We have die Mutter, die Tante, die Schwester, die Cousine, die Oma, die Großmutter, die Tochter. Or, on the other side, der Vater, der Bruder, der Onkel, der Cousin, der Opa, der Großvater, der Sohn. So if we look at that, we see it's still lined up by gender, and on the left side it's always die, and you've probably heard die a bunch of other times in class. So if we ask you die, what does die mean? The, you know that, you've heard that before. Okay, great. Die Mutter, the mother, die Tante, the aunt. Or we look at the other side, der Vater, der Bruder, der Onkel, der. What does der mean? And you can probably tell me the answer to that too. Oh, that means the. So that both those words mean the same thing, and that is the trick. So then part of learning German is going to be knowing which form of the to use. And as you can see, if something is actually male, you're going to use the male form. If something's actually female, you're going to use the female form. There's actually a neutral form too, but we really haven't learned any words that use that yet, so we're going to keep that for later. And we're going to try and differentiate. How do you know which form of the to use? And the answer is actually really simple. You're going to have to memorize it when you memorize the word. And you're probably sad to hear that, because that is a lot of memorizing and nobody likes to memorize a lot of stuff. But, you know, besides if something's actually male or female, you know, every noun has its own gender, or has its own der, die, or das you're supposed to use for it, and it always uses that form. It's not like you can just use whichever one you want. It always uses the same one. And if you're thinking like, oh, it'll just be a pattern, or I'll try and figure out like, is it kind of more masculine or more of a feminine type of object, you're gonna be using the wrong one a lot. And, you know, think about the word like house. You're gonna be sitting there thinking like, house, is that more masculine or feminine? Yeah, that's a hard question. So the best thing is memorize it when you memorize the word, because there is no pattern that you can just memorize or formula you can just figure out. So let's look at one last thing, one last list to show one last little bit of this concept. Let me read this for you. I want you thinking again, how is this list different than the other lists? Die Mutter, die Vetter, die Eltern, die Großväter, die Großmutter, die Opas, die Omas, die Großeltern, die Brüder, die Schwestern, die Geschwister, die Tanten, die Onkel, die Cousins, die Cousinen, die Sohne, die Tochter. So, most obvious one, it's all in one column. Awesome, that's great. That's because it all shares one similarity, and that is plural. We have all the plurals here. Mothers, fathers, parents, grandfathers, grandmothers. And you notice here, they all use die all of the time. Because if something's plural, you're going to use die. Doesn't matter if it's masculine or feminine or neutral. If you're talking about the plural of the word, it's always going to use die. Alright. There you go. Now you should know all you have to do is memorize it and use the die if it's plural.